summer of 1987. The calendar showed June the 25th. It was that night that an antique collector searching in trash cans containing envelopes and stamps faced a spectacle he could not even imagine in his worst nightmares. Inside a bin in the area of Katupatisha were bags containing human remains. Police were immediately alerted and authorities were called to investigate one of the most horrific crimes in Greece. The human remains belonged to an 18-year-old Zoe Garmani, which had been divided into 11 pieces. Her husband, Panayotis Franzis, was the perpetrator. Panayotis Franzis was a student and was working as a plasterer when he first saw 17-year-old Zoe Garmani in a cafeteria in Kolachios Square. He was immediately dazzled by her beauty, as he would say during the preliminary investigation. He even followed her on a vacation to sneak a peek at her. "She is beautiful. I fell in love with her, and that's how our bond began," he said shortly after his arrest. But squabbling for minor reasons had been constant, so they decided to go their separate ways. Francis had a relationship with another girl at the time and was engaged. Zoe, then jealous, had asked him to break up. Francis divorced, and in December 1986 they were married. However, the fight continued, which was confirmed by the environment of their life. At the same time, Francis was blaming everything on his wife, saying that she was jealous of him. On the evening of June the 24th, the couple argued once again. Panayotis Franzis claimed that after some time they stopped fighting and made love. Then, his wife, as he said, provoked him again, and they fought once more. "I was distraught. I lost my cool, and I didn't know what I was doing. I grabbed her and shoved her forcefully over the side of the bed, banging her head, which knocked her out. I was, as you can see, completely confused." Zoe was downstairs. "I got close to see if she was still breathing and if she had a pulse. I grabbed her arm, and I realized then that she had no pulse. She was dead," he pointed out, in preliminary, when speaking about their last fight. However, the coroner Lefkivis, who examined the dismembered corpse of Zoe, had a different opinion. Her death came from suffocation. She was strangled and there were no signs of struggle in Zoe's hands. When Francis realized that his wife was dead, he decided to discard her remains. He had already thought about his story. He would say she abandoned him. He carried her into the bathtub and with a Cretan knife and a hammer cut her body into pieces. Even the policeman who broke his confession lost it when they heard him cynically describe the process. "I was in a bad shape. I vomited when I chopped her up and stopped. I kept stopping and restarting. There was a strong smell of blood, but I loved her. I loved her very much," he told them. According to the coroner, Francis gouged her eyes out, cut off her nose, ears and hair so that she would not be recognized by anyone. After finishing his horrific work, he placed the human parts in bags and went to throw them away. However, a receipt from a butcher's shop in one of the bags was what led police to the couple's whereabouts. He then decided to surrender. Speaking to police officials, he admitted to having chopped his wife, but insisted that her death was due to an accident. The crime became front-page news, and the public watched Francis speechlessly confess his actions. I don't have to work in a butcher shop to know. It's very easy. It is nothing difficult, as long as you know where to cut, he said cynically during the reconstruction of his crime. I didn't kill her. It was an accident. I only accept the charge of abusing a deceased body. I did not strangle her. I will never forgive myself for not showing composure at the time Zoe died. The murderer is not me, he said in court. But the decision was damning, and he was handed a life sentence. 2 judges actually voted in the minority as they call for capital punishment, which is the death penalty. He remained in prison for 18 years. Within that time, he requested release 3 times, but his requests were denied. He was released in 2005. The reasoning behind this decision stated that he was released from prison as a result of beneficial calculation of 2,316 days of work and suspension of the execution of the rest of his sentence.